Guys, I think Oda just broke the internet. Luffy just turned into a genie and Emu just stabbed him with a sword called Void, the same name as Crocodile's blade. That is not a coincidence. Chapter 1188 just leaked, and if this is real, this might be the biggest identity twist in One Piece history. We have got Gear 5 evolving into something new, we have got a flashback showing Joy Boy's smile, and it looks exactly like Luffy's, and we have got Emu looking Luffy dead in the eye and saying, Joy Boy would never be this weak. Now before we go further, let's rewind for a second, because if you are new here, you need to understand why this line hits so hard. Joy Boy isn't just some side character, he's the mystery Oda has been building since chapter 1, the guy from 800 years ago, the guy tied to the Void Century, a whole 100 years of history the world government erased on purpose. And for years, fans have theorized, what if Luffy is Joy Boy, not reincarnated, not related, just him somehow. So when Emu, the single most powerful, most secretive figure in the entire series, looks at Luffy and says, you are not him, that's not just an insult, that's Oda directly addressing the biggest fan theory in One Piece history, on page, in canon. Now here's where it gets insane. Why would Oda reuse the word void? Is this about erasing history? Is this Emu literally trying to void Joy Boy out of existence, the same way the world government voided an entire kingdom? Or is this Oda telling us something about who Luffy really is? Because think about it, names in this series are never random. Every weapon, every technique, every title means something. So if void shows up twice, tied to two completely different characters, that's a thread Oda wants us pulling on. Here's the other piece of this. Think about every single time Luffy's been at his absolute lowest, Anis lobby, beaten half to death, and he breaks his own limits to save Robin. Marineford loses his brother, shuts down completely, and comes back stronger than ever. Wano gets destroyed by Kaido again and again until Gear 5 awakens. Every single time, rock bottom is the setup, not the ending. So when Emu says he is too weak to be Joy Boy, is that an insult? Or is that the setup for the biggest power-up in the entire series? And let's talk about the genie transformation for a second, because that detail is wild. Genies mythologically are beings that are bound, trapped, forced to serve, forced to grant wishes that aren't their own. Sound familiar? Because that's basically been Luffy's entire arc against Emu, a world that's been trapped, history that has been bound and silenced for 800 years. This might not just be a cool transformation, it might be Oda telling us exactly what this fight is actually about. Now look, this is still an unconfirmed leak. Nothing here is official yet, so take all of this with a grain of salt until Shueisha drop the real chapter. But if even half of this is accurate, next week's break is going to feel like the longest week of our lives. I'm covering this chapter fully once it drops officially, full discussion video, a full review, and what's next breakdown predicting where this goes. So make sure you are following, because you do not want to miss this. Because if Luffy really isn't Joy Boy, then who is?